Reshuffling. My name is Ayo Makinde. And you would think I'm alone. But let me first of all remind you, it is my pleasure to be your weekly reminder that you will take your pure cocoa every morning. Good morning to you. What's funny?
Good morning to you too.
You want? No, this.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's true.
Oh, you want a pure cocoa? Okay, I could serve you some.
Oh my
pure
God.
cocoa, thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome to join us, everybody.
No, get your cup. Get your kitchen, get to your kitchen. No, that's enough.
Okay.
Can't show my ration, thank you very much. No problem.
Oh my goodness, okay. Welcome. This is how he terrorizes me every day. Every morning. But he's a lovely chap.
That's what love does.
Welcome everyone to Sunrise. This is how we roll. I don't know how you do it on a Saturday morning, but here you are, Aya and I. Keeping it real.
Oh, by the way, her name is Joke Rogers, just in case you forgot.
They know already.
Because sometimes she just forgets that.
I thought you introduced me already.
And she will say that I'm the one that is terrorizing. I'm not terrorizing you. Oh, by the way, I don't know whether this was inherited by the new INEC chairman or it is something that's just coming up from him. But we understand that as preparations hot up for the Anambra elections, let me use the local balance that some of my friends use. Hey, hi. It's going to be very...
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure that will work out well for them. Hopefully, there won't be any glitches or anything.
We need to find out. What do they mean by that one?
Well, everybody's deploying technology now and all those things, AI, to solve a lot of issues. So I think Nigeria does not want to be left out. So let's see how that... At least he will come and explain how they're going to deploy AI for elections. And I'm guessing Anambra will be the test run for that.
So AI is going to be, well, it's some kind of virtual assistant, a technology-driven learning tool designed to enhance electoral training and operational efficiency.
Yes,
let's see how that works. Well, don't overthink it. Your WhatsApp chatbot is AI. Calm down.
There are a lot of things are AI now that we just don't even realize that we're already... Some people we've moved into it without realizing that.
Some people, right now, they don't know how to write anymore. The only way they write is, okay, it's AI, and then it's just power. Anyway, so that's just the first. What else happened this week? I know that you have already too much already. Yes.
Well, it's one of them that we're discussing this morning, reshuffling the service chiefs.
Well,
CDS is gone, General Musa is gone as CDS.
We look forward to the discussion.
Yeah.
But there are suspicions as to why.
Yeah.
But it is not something new in the military. They are very well aware that these things can happen from time to time.
Yeah.
And it's not really to blame anything or anyone, or okay, maybe it's because of this or because of that. Most of the time, some things it just has to happen. In many organizations as well. Shebi restructuring happened in the Senate. And then we saw the uproar that followed it.
I really would like to find out why it's Oluyede that was retained made CDS and everybody else was gone. You know, usually when they reshuffle, everybody goes and new people come in. But this is one of the very few times where...
Well, one of the things that, even in the military era, these things happen.
Yeah.
That's why, so I'm not making anything of it. However, one of the challenges that I've always had with government is communication. Yes, it's not everything that government can tell us. We know. We understand. Sometimes it is what they call national security and all of those. That's fine, we understand. But it'll be good not to leave too many gaps for people to make assumptions and say, okay, it's because of this, that this is this, because of that, that is that. We can eliminate all those things by just, prioritizing the important things. So let's say we're grateful that that one has happened. So what else are we looking at in the course of the week?
So many things have happened as well. The Free Nnamdi Kanu protest as well. A lot of things went down there as well. You know, the arrest of Omoyele Sowore at the Kuje Magistrate Court, and so many things that happened there as well. I think he's being charged. There are new charges against him. Some defamation charge against the president. So many things.
You know, the interesting thing, I don't think we're being honest. As a people, not just from the side of government now, but as a people, I don't think we are really being honest about the whole Nnamdi Kanu saga. This whole conversation started with the federal government, I think, in 2021, right? Now, it will seem like many people don't even know what the genesis is. Those who are, you know, putting ethnic and cultural coloration to it, there's nothing wrong with it. But are we speaking to the issues? Are we really looking at what the issues are? Or we just, maybe because the issues have gone on for so long, we are labeling government because of the image that government has cultivated in our hearts over time? In what way do these issues protect the reputation of our country, the rule of law? When we spoke with GT Ogunye yesterday, Mr. GT Ogunye yesterday, one of the things I was saying, look, at the end of the day, we pay attention, right, to what's important to us as a nation. Because he was very emphatic, GT Ogunye was very emphatic about the rule of law. The rule of law. So, yes, there are political solutions and all those things. And for those who are calling for the president to intervene, I don't have any problem with anyone making any call. But are we saying that the president should upturn the rule of law simply because we want a political solution? Are we saying that cases should not? Because can we allow the case to run its course? The case has been too slow, understood. But if we say, let the judiciary expedite activities and get the thing off of the road, and there is a conviction, the president has the authority to provide clemency, right? To say, okay, you know what, don't serve this sentence or delay this sentence or commute this sentence or whatever. That, in my opinion, I think is where the president can come. But to be asking people to say, the president to free Nnamdi Kanu, I'm wondering, are we asking, where on the one hand we are saying rule of law, on the other hand we are saying political solutions? Maybe I'm speaking like a naive person. I
even had, you know, during the course of the week, someone, you know, that said that wanted to speak about peace, you know, in Nigeria, that if he's calling on the president to free Nnamdi Kanu so that there will be peace in Nigeria. So, and I'm wondering, why would you even say a thing like that? Are you saying that there will be chaos if Nnamdi Kanu is not freed? Or are you saying, it's almost a treasonable offense to be saying that? It's as if you're saying that if he's not free, then the people that are calling for his release will cause, you know, chaos and make the country ungovernable. That's treasonable. I think we had to shut down that conversation. It was a live conversation. I
think we all just need to be. So many times when you are in public space, even though your social media is public space.
Yes, public space.
Many times when you are, you know, in public space, be mindful not just of what you're saying, not just because it is right or wrong, but because of the near or far future, because at some point you're not going to be where you are today anymore. And some people are going to quote what you have said, and so how are you going to see it? So those things are really usually very, very important to us. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, let the case run its course, because I cannot come and can.
So what do we have today?
Oh, yeah. We're going to begin with the service chief's reshufflement. That's the first conversation we're going to be having this morning to understand exactly what's happening, perspectives and counter perspectives to that issue.
And we'll also focus on Golden Gate investment. You'll find out what that is about when we get to that conversation.
And if you want to invest in Golden Gate, you will find out. And then we will be talking about plastic pollution in Lagos. I hear that thing is big money. Instead of, can we just take out the pollution and change it to something else? I hear it's a lot of money.
Yes, and then we have on our lifestyle segment, common dental conditions and how we can tackle it.
Before you open your mouth, what is wrong with your mouth? And our artist of the week this morning, let's just say we decided to dig someone up again, back into the public space.
We always say, you know, you have to come back to talk some more.
In the interest of peace, stability, tranquility, agility, and hegemony. Don't even mind me. So, again, we ask you, do yourself a favor, grab your cup of cocoa, and if you prefer cocoa, do me the honors, and we'll be right back. Okay, I think I need to fix. No, and I'm not fixing that.
Oh, thank goodness. Welcome back, everyone. It's always fun to be around Ayo, but let's get to the serious business now. We talked about something as we opened, the reshuffling of the service chiefs. Well, one person, you know, some people were retained, but the general, Christopher Musa, is gone as the Chief of Defense Staff and has been replaced by the former Chief of Army Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, who is now the Chief of Defense Staff. Some people have hailed it as a remarkable event, and some have said it will help the career progression of people in the military. Others have said other rumors of why this reshuffling is taking place, but we'll get more perspective on the reasons why and what other people think of this this morning. And we're being joined on the program by Professor Ademola Abbas, a professor of international law, global security analyst. He joins us from Abuja studios. We also have Oyewole Ogini, senior researcher, Bonn International Center for Conflict Studies as well. He joins us virtually this morning. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay,
Good morning.
If you don't mind, Joke, I'd like to begin. Prof, let me begin with you. I'm looking at a report, right, that someone is saying, of course, the presidency gave a reason into why the military shakeup took place. The opinion of the military shakeup, the opinion of the president is that the military shakeup was connected to a move to inject new direction into the armed forces. But then there are those who are saying it is because it is connected to a rumored coup plot. Do you want to take a gamble on which it could be?
Good morning, Ayo. Nice seeing you again. Well, gambling is very dangerous, but well, one probably will take it. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying gambling is a very dangerous thing to do, but I'll take one. Look, I think I've said it quite often on your program that we've become very cynical of ourselves in Nigeria, and we've become also very cynical of our government, and sometimes for good reasons. That is because more often than not, we've learned to tread very cautiously whenever government says something. When they say A, we tend to second guess them. And you wouldn't blame Nigerians for that in terms of rumors and this and that. If you cast your mind back to late 80s to maybe early 90s, when Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, popularly called IBB, who called himself the evil genius, if you remember, was in power. Every time he spoke on national television, and he wanted to assure Nigerians that he was going to stay focused on the transition to civilian program under his administration, he would always say, Inshallah, this will happen. But every time he said Inshallah, he actually went against that. And Inshallah is a serious thing to invoke. It's in the name of Allah that, you know, Muslim worshippers owe so dearly. So for anybody to say Inshallah and then go against that repeatedly, consistently, says a lot. And that is, I think, why when Nigeria began to lose a lot of confidence and when leaders say something. Now, having said that, as a background, you will understand that, yeah, there was a military shake-up. Look, in a normal climb, if there are military shake-ups, so to say, or shakes up, whatever you want to call it, it shouldn't automatically get us, get tongues wagging, or because the president did not appear for once at the what is it called? To take a salute during the independence, celebration. Does not automatically mean there was something in the offing, like a coup. I'm not saying that there couldn't have been something, unsavory going on at that point in time. What I'm saying is that, look, sometimes we get ourselves bogged in all these unnecessary foraging, unnecessary fault finding, you want to call it, or just sort of prospecting for things that might not be there. It is normal for any administration to reshuffle its government. You can reshuffle the cabinet without meaning to expel some people, or if you want to expel them, you can expel them. You can just rejig them to give them some new roles because you've made an analysis and assessment to see whether they are optimal in the current roles they are performing on, and you want to change them. The same thing with military. The military is not immune to changes and to alterations and to modifications and to rejigging. So it could have been, as far as I'm concerned, except I see any credible evidence that there was a planned coup. Although I must say, I think I read something from the military headquarters saying, the 16 people who are reported to have been arrested because of some remote coup was because of some lack of career progression on their part and this and that. And I couldn't understand that. I'm an academic. If I teach a student and he or she is not doing very well in my class, I don't detain him. I don't jail him or her. I don't send him out to detention because of his or her lack of ability to understand what I'm teaching or to grapple with some fundamentals. No. So that is why, in other words, what came out of the military headquarters that I read doesn't really help people who have given themselves to peddling the rumors that whatever happened was because of the
right. Thank you.
So-called coup.
Thank you for that. So, Mr. Ogini, if I can come to you on this, some people have described this shakeup, or what we call it, as a remarkable move by the president, being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and that it's what is needed for career progression. Professor Abbas just talked about the fact that people need to move up, and whatever the people that have been moved now, it's a fit, and it's not something that's new to Nigeria. But do you see it as remarkable as well? Why do you reckon that this move was made by the president at this time?
Thank you very much. As you already know, that if you have to look around you, you have to look at what is happening in your neighbors, and to be able to reflect critically, and then a good decision maker is going to actually act in advance in whatever that may happen. Of course, irrespective of whether there's a rumor of coup d'etat or not, but you need to also take into cognizance what is happening around you. For example, you can link it up with what actually happens in the Indian Ocean there in Madagascar with the little protests and what actually that's generated into military takeover in the last few days, as you can observe that. And you can also observe that not just only within the Nigeria territory, the Sahel is on fire, and not just only because the actors there, they are military juntas, but it's also important to know that they also have their influencer who they continue to use both within West Africa to push narrative that to have a military as a government is the best. So government have to be a bit sensitive. And then if you look at internally what is going on with the expansion of the armed groups such as ISWAP and also other things that are happening, you know that a good leader needs to be careful to also look at what is happening and to see how much things that need to be done in order to get it right. So I think it's nothing new. It's not something should call for alarm. It's something that needs to happen. It's about performance appraisal, in my opinion, which need to evolve over time in relation to what is happening around us. So I think it's okay if the president wishes to do so. I think it's fine. Also, if you look at what is happening, maybe we'll discuss that much later on the DSS, the pronunciation regarding so armed group in Kogi and moving southward. You can see also there's a need for change of strategy and tactical change, operational change, but that's also at the strategic level. So I think this is important.
Let me stay with you, Mr. Ogini. Changes made at this level is talking about leadership changes, but because they're security people, we also expect some continuity in whatever they're supposed to do. So what do you think we should expect from this reshuffle? Is it a change in the philosophy of military, or just faces that are changing? Of course, some faces were retained, but the majority of people left. So what should we really expect?
Well, I think, as you can see, maybe if I talk about what is happening on the ground, we may not like it, but we have to say it that the security situation improves somewhere and it deteriorates somewhere. So it's like it's solving problems somewhere temporarily and the problem evolves elsewhere. So the current defense chief is somebody who also participated in Operation Akin in the Northeast. Is somebody who also have a tactical knowledge and as well as what it takes to really take the battle to this armed group and the sort of bandits which create insecurity in our environment. I think maybe we could see much push. Maybe we can see more push from him because it's a test of leadership again to see what will change in the next few months and especially when we start getting to election year next year where security issue become a political issue. So I think these are the dynamics that we should critically reflect on. I think in terms of tactical operation, we expect a more aggressive approach, taking the war to the criminals, to the bandits, to the armed group. They're actually establishing territories both in Kogi, in Ondo State, in Kwara, in Niger State, now in Ondo State, and also in the Northeast and Northwest, across all the border, North Central. So it's important to really take this into consideration, and this should be a basis of measurement of performance, where people can actually see that the level of kidnapping around in the city, in the rural areas, reduced, and we are already seeing that people can a little bit travel without being panicked. They can live in the city without thinking that their fellow will be kidnapped. So I think these are all clear metrics that we should measure against this performance. And these are things that is the first action that we want to see, that not just only military. Maybe the question we should ask is, why do we still have the chief of police? Is it not important to also have a change of leadership in this dimension, given that they are the first point of contact, especially in the city area? So these are the dynamics that we need to also reflect on.
Now, that's a very, very critical issue you just mentioned there, Mr. Ogide. But let me ask you, Prof, first of all, do you see this reshufflement as an admission that the previous security team underperformed, or do you think it's just one of those routine adjustments or activities of any government?
Well, thanks, Ayo. I wouldn't necessarily say it as an admission on behalf of the government.
In other words, maybe let me put that differently. I apologize, Prof. Let me put that differently.
Officers.
Just a second. Let me put it differently. Do you think it calls for a kind of review or an appraisal of how they performed? The previous team, I mean.
Well, I think you probably now put it much better. And thanks for reframing it, because as I was saying earlier on, I wouldn't have thought, I wouldn't assume automatically because a government is reshuffling or rejigging is a leadership, this echelon automatically assumes that or presupposes that it's an indictment or an admission on the part of that government or that institution that those who are there didn't do before. No. But I think the way you reframed it, it could be an assessment. It could be an opportunity to reassess, what has gone before and to re-strategize. I'm not extremely upbeat, to be honest with you, about some of these changes, because more often than not, we've been through this path several times in the past, many times over. And many of these changes eventually end up being spotting the difference between 6 and half a dozen. As you know, there's, just like 5 lepers, 5 fingers of a leper's hand. You don't tell any difference at the end of the day. So any change to be impactful will have to also automatically involve a conceptual reorientation, of the leadership itself. So you could continue to change your echelon. You could continue to replace, General A with General B and move them around. If the conceptual approach is the same thing, you're not going to get much result at the end. Let me just give you an example. EU, the bulk of work of Europe today, as you know, relies heavily on NATO, the transatlantic organization, in terms of defense. Europe has tried so many times in generating their own defense system. They've not been successful because many European countries did not want to commit a lot of their fundings and finances into that particular project until, and that's one good thing that came out of Trump's second term, Trump 2.0, until Trump said, you know what, in this Ukraine stuff, you want us to deal with Russia and Ukraine, Europe has to step up. You must make sure you ramp up your defense contribution, your defense spending within your individual country to 3% of your GDP. Then see what happened. Europe stepped up and began to do that, and suddenly they now find themselves at a level in which now they are standing, so to say, shoulder to shoulder with the US in terms of, putting together a mission that will go to, Ukraine. So I'm saying that to say that there was a conceptual shift. There was a philosophical shift in the approach. So we want this thing to be done, but you have to be able to do this. That is not what one has seen consistently whenever we move leadership around the Nigerian military system, Nigerian armed forces. You can move people from chief of army staff to chief of defense staff and vice versa. But the question is, what is the approach? Are you changing their conceptual graph of what is going on? Let me give you an example. Ask yourself a question. How many countries in the world do you see policemen living in barracks? I've gone around almost zero. Policemen live among civilians. The policing job is a regular job. You leave your house at 8 o'clock, you go to work, you are in mufti when you go in. When you get to work, go to your locker room, you change into your uniform. You are a policeman when you're at work. When you are leaving, you change, you go out. So when a policeman lives among the civilian people, among civilians, he or she understands the pains of civilians. He knows what goes on a daily basis. He or she serves also as a security officer for those civilians. He can collect information within the particular system. But in Nigeria, we have civilians, we have police, sort of sectioned, so to say, in the barracks. And they don't live there. They live in the barracks with their family. They don't mix with the civilians so much. They are cordoned away. Why do we? So you can change the IGP of police too many times, or 1 million times. You can change all the CPs. If you don't change the conceptual approach that policing should be rooted among the people that they are policing, you won't make a significant gain. So as far as I'm concerned, yes, it could be an opportunity for them to be able to, for the government to be able to reassess what has gone wrong, to go back to the drawing board, look at the strategy and put other things in place and say, look, but what is important is for the government to understand that something is not working, and to fix it, you have to do more than a just gesticulation. You have to do more than just nominal moving around. You have to go deeper than that.
Does this also, in your opinion then, Prof, call for, okay, maybe I should take this to Mr. Ogini, whether you think that this reshufflement also calls for a second look at our security instruments, and I'm talking about the soft infrastructure, the policies, direction, and hierarchy, command and control, and all those things. With this new service chiefs, this new team coming on board now, what do you think needs to change for there to be more action, more productivity on their part? We have seen, and it baffles me every time, Mr. Ogina, I think we've discussed this a few times before. It baffles me that sometimes we will be reacting to attacks. We'll have situations where an attack will happen and we will hear it only after it has happened. Meanwhile, we understand that it is the job of the intelligentsia to ensure that information gets to the appropriate authorities first to nip those attacks in the bud. A few times we've heard that they get the information on time, they get the intelligence reports on time, but nothing happens. With this now set of new service chiefs coming in, what do you see changing? What do you think needs to change so we don't have these sudden attacks anymore?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the new service chiefs actually come at a very critical historical or security situation in the country that actually need not more of reaction. As you said, if I may tell you the truth, even me, I know that ISWAP group will attack in Kwara, ISWAP who can attack in Kogi, as even Osun State, they have networks there. So if I can know that, just know that DSS know much more about that. So think of it, the active cell of this ISWAP group in Kogi State, about 125 meters, 125 miles away from the Central Capital Territory of Nigeria, you know. And think of, for example, the information they exchange. Think of, for example, in March, the Islamic State globally actually established an agenda for armed groups such as ISWAP to actually operate what we call burning camps. Burning camp is to expand and to actually make sure they can push as much as they can, because if you see Syria case, it's something that we need to learn about. You know that the current person who happens to be the leader in Syria was part of armed group, and it was successfully, you know, integrated into the global community now. So a lot of armed groups want to fight hard to see that they can push government to the edge, so that they can also have a bargaining chip or opportunity to negotiate. So, and this is things that it's coming up. If you look at the security architecture, if you look at the DSS, what happened in Kogi, you know that it's not just ISWAP that operates in Kogi State. Ansaru first operated there, which was part of Boko Haram. Later, when there's a member of Ansaru group that was angry because they were not treated well the way others were treated, they joined ISWAP group. They have operated in 2022. 10 times attack happened in Kogi State. In December 2023, they actually DSS did very well, captured quite a lot of them who actually operated like the cobblers and others in the southwest. This one did not go to the news. But what is happening right now is the ability to first say, do we tackle the security before we make it a political issue, or do we have to make it political before we tackle it? So, and this is what happened with the issue of the news of DSS and the leak that happened with respect to Ondo State. So there are issues there. These have to be tackled earlier before it even get to the public. But where we have issue at the moment is, think of it that most of the activities that need to be tackled in the city, in our remote area, are handed over to military, who naturally live in the barrack. That's what Professor was trying to say. The police, who naturally supposed to be empowered, to be active, to live among the people, to be able to have a quick information and relate it directly, they couldn't do that. As we are talking to you now, the institution of police is continuing to be relegated because you have to put more resources into military where we're supposed not to put that. So this is one point. The second point, with respect to whether we need to be preemptive, it's important. Preemptive strategy is necessary for a country like Nigeria that we don't have a strong security architecture. We need to have a preemptive strategy that can tackle some of these emerging challenges right on before we. In fact, sometimes if you look at it, for example, we're somewhere where we're discussing how jihadists in Somalia, for example, how they are recruited and their impact on Germany. That is in Germany. Jihadists in Somalia, not in Germany. So that's how you can think. You have to think of what is happening in your neighborhood. You have to think of what could happen as a result of this, and then you have to put that into position. Many of the DSS have information, but never get to the top. And when it gets to the top, it's who actually get the information. So there is also politics within this area of sharing of information and also doing a right thing to be done. Yeah.
All right, well, we've since been joined by Dr. Seyi Adetaye, who is a former DSS operative and publisher of Eon's Intelligence. He joins us right here in the studio. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, of course, we're talking about this service chief reshufflement and all. On the one hand, well, the first question that I asked everyone was that on the one hand, the presidency says we just want new blood. On the other hand, some are saying, oh, the president is afraid of a coup plot.
Yeah.
On which do you think we should be taking sides now?
Well, see, the truth about Nigeria is that there's nothing you will do now. People will definitely ascribe something to it. But the truth is that even for you, you have your key result areas, your KPIs, and what you're expected to do by this organization. So I believe for everyone that the president appointed, he had his expectations. And he's one that will determine whether they are meeting the expectations or not, and reasons why he has to change them. Also, those service chiefs also have their own service terms within which they will remain. So I don't see a big deal in service chief being there. It's not.
But you are in intelligentsia as well, so you are like, we expect you will say something like it's not a big deal. But that's not, for instance, one of the political parties, I think ADC, say, look, tell us the truth. What's going on? So on the one hand, I mean, you know that Yoruba proverb. That on the one hand, it was just yesterday that a witch was crying, and this morning his child suddenly dies. People will draw connections.
Okay, so why do you think that we have the DMI, or the Defense Intelligence Agency? One of the key functions of the Defense Intelligence Agency is to procure intelligence. That is military classified intelligence. And part of it is also to watch people, military officers, and ensure that they are in line. So it means that for every organization, for every country, the reason why they have intelligence in the military is to ensure that the militaries, are in line. So the understanding and idea of coup is worldwide. It's not something that is limited to Nigeria. So that's why every country has put in place things to ensure that their military sits tight and they do their professional job. So somebody bringing up issues around coup is not a new story. It is something that the Defense Intelligence is expected to watch every day, both those in the US, those in the UK, those that are working for different countries. Their defense intelligence is to ensure that they continue to watch. Why are they watching? Because they know that there's propensity for some military officers at different point in time to want to begin to think in a particular direction that is against democracy. So it is not something that people will just throw issues of coup out there as if it is something that is not part of what government is all about. It's something that the whole security apparatus all over the world are structured to ensure that things like that are monitored. So that's why we say that it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Yeah, but militaries are being watched every day.
Sorry, we say that, but where we've had all these threats and quelling of those threats, majorly we've had it in Africa. We have some parts of Asia and all that. But you probably, maybe the intelligence shuts it down, but in countries like the United Kingdom and in the US, but you hardly ever hear there's a fear of coup. A coup in the United States or the UK, and then they're changing their military chiefs every now and once in a while, just to ensure that everything is a-okay. Okay, it's only in Africa and some other countries.
Let me tell you something now. Yeah. You see, the Nigeria of 30 years ago is not the same as Nigeria of today. So if anybody just go on here and say, fellow Nigerians, people will just bullshit him. Why? Because there's no monopoly of communication. The reason why coup was active then, because there was monopoly of communication. Once you say fellow Nigeria, nobody to counter. So the way we are looking at current democratic structure is different from the way it used to be. You can't just go on any radio station or go and say fellow Nigerians. It will not survive. So people are still having that mentality of 30 years ago, that some military officer can just say, oh, we are taking over government. Since government moved to Aso Rock, have you seen any coup happen or successful? The structure has changed. The security network has changed. The way our military is currently structured is different from the way it used to be. Communication, is now, what is it called? How do I put it? It's everywhere. Even I, on my own, I can just pick up my phone and then tweet something and the whole country is seeing it. I alone can just say, which fellow Nigeria, you're on your own, we are not following you. And that's the end. One of the reasons why Okaku failed was because there was a counter communication. Because they were able to discover that the president, the head of state then was alive. And they were able to counter. So you can imagine when we're talking of a period when there is phone in the hands of all Nigerians. So I think we need to rest our mind around things like this.
Okay. Let me ask Prof. Isn't it also a little ironic that earlier in the week, okay, maybe I should actually be asking you, Dr. Aditayo, just on Tuesday, the DSS put out an alert. There was a plot by the ISWAP, which Mr. Ogini also mentioned earlier, that there could be attacks in some states, like Ondo and Kogi states, and of course that has made them to activate some surveillance and counter-terror measures against the ISWAP plot. Is there any... I am always bothered by the fact that those things are possible within the country in the first place.
Okay, let me correct a notion. DSS did not put out an alert.
Okay.
It was a communication between the DSS State Command to the brigade commander of the formation in Akure. It was supposed to be an interagency communication.
Okay.
For tactical and strategic reason.
Was it leaked?
Well, it got into the media.
So it was leaked?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's a leak.
Okay.
So I won't say it was leaked, but there was a leak.
Okay.
And for every, when such happens, they are investigated. And those that are involved, it is immediate dismissal. Because, you know, we have rules, even it's in the Act, you know, Official Secret Act, where there are rules that governs management and handling of classified information. And if you look at that document, it's written classified secret. So that is the second highest, you know, classification any document could carry. So I'm sure that, you know, the military, because if you look at it, it's for one sent to the military in Akure, the Nigerian army in Akure that got leaked. Now, one thing I want us to understand around how the intelligence agency operates is that before they write such to the military, they've actually done the work. They are not telling them that, oh, we are aware, we are looking. No, they have done their work. But at times when work has been done, there is possibility of them probably missing one thing or the other. Or, you know, they are still working towards catching up. Maybe the thing's supposed to be like 15, they've cleared about 14. They are not aware of 15, or they are working towards getting the identity of the 15th, and they don't want to miss anything. They also inform, you know, other agencies to also be on the lookout. So at the area they are missing, and if they see it, they can actually pick it. It was a threat that had been neutralized. But they were, if you look at the down part of the second paragraph, they were advised to step up their own surveillance. That is to tell them that, okay, we're doing something, in case you see anything like that, you know that it's a fallout of what we're doing.
All right.
There's another thing I want to mention here. You see, when you see a mother, you know, the child is disturbing the mother will be worried. That same mother, the moment she sits for like 5 minutes and she's not hearing anything from that child, she'll become worried again. That this child that is quiet, something must happen. And in most cases, you will see that that child is up to something. That's why that child is quiet. That is how it is in intelligence. You see, when you see everywhere is quiet like this, that is the most dangerous period. Okay. That is the period where things were actually happening. Okay. You are not aware because the intelligence service are already working on them.
That's noted. Prof, so from a global security perspective, would you say, and I think it's a similar question that I asked Dr. Ogini the other time, would you say Nigeria's current defense strategy is reactive, reformative, or proactive?
Well, thank you, Ayo. Well, it's a bit of all, to be honest with you. It used to be completely reactive in the past, a bit of long-distance past. But I think now the government is a bit more proactive in taking certain steps. But the question is, though, whether those steps are quick enough and whether they go far enough. And I'll give you some indications. I already spoke about the fact that from global perspective, the US helped the European Union to step up. You know, when you come back home, and I'm happy the gentleman who just spoke from the SS, the fact that what I said earlier on, that it wasn't a big deal, that government is reshuffling. It's normal, just because we have become suspicious and very cynical that we read minutes in this thing. But we should be more concerned, though, about what is the government doing with the information in its hand now. We know ISWAP is planning to attack, you know, Kogi, Ondo. We know 3 years ago they attacked, you know, Akure, don't forget, and about a Catholic church, and about 45 or 41 people were murdered. We know what they've done. We know they broke into Kuje prison in the past. Let's forget that. But then, what does the government do preventatively? Look at it. I used to work in Ethiopia, and one of the things I used to admire about that government is what I'm sure the gentleman from the DSA will know, what they call the bare knuckle intelligence in that country. Now, you see police officers in Ethiopia, they guard public institutions, government institutions on a permanent basis. So when you are going into a bank, you see police outside. Central bank, you see police outside. Public institutions. In Nigeria, what do? Our diminished number of policemen and women, we attach them to so-called VIPs. For goodness sake, if you are a senator, if you are a House of Representative member, if you are a local government, whatever you are, you can procure your own personal security. The government has no business allocating police officers to VIPs. If you are VIP, it means you have enough resources to be able to look after yourself than regular Nigerians. Why do we do that? Why do we give police that is not enough to go around people to VIPs? Why don't we make them police public institutions? That is a preventative and a proactive measure that the government could take. And another example, if ISWAP or whoever is coming to Nigeria, and don't forget, they are very active, continentally and intra-regionally. If they are coming to Nigeria, they're from Sahel or from where they are coming into, they come through the border. Now, ask yourself a question, what facilitates all these people coming through our border so effortlessly? Again, I think I've said this in the past. You have custom in Nigeria. I think Nigeria is about the only country I've done research so far that I see is custom being the same institution collecting collecting duties from importers. It's not the job of custom and excise to be collecting duties from people. Your job as custom is to police our borders. But in Nigeria, you have the same custom collecting duties. They will set up institutions. They own the agents who, by the way, will collect money from importers. They have left their primary duty of policing our borders. So the borders have become very porous at the end of the day. And we've told the government several times, look, if you go to other countries in the world, go to the United Kingdom as an example. We have HRM, Israel Majesty Revenue Department. They collect money on behalf of the government. No government agency that is in uniform has any business collecting money and turning the place into a commercial venture. So when they do that, they forget the primary duty of policing the borders. Because if you're talking about the solutions to make sure that all these things don't happen in Nigeria, or the government is able to act proactively, it's a fundamental question of how prepared is government in terms of understanding the nitty-gritty of security itself. And I'm sorry to say, we are still learning as far as security is concerned. We don't attach the gravity of importance to security in Nigeria. Look, over 3 years ago in 2022, people went and attacked the Catholic Church in Akure. As I'm talking now, they're still facing trial. How long does the trial take? What message are you sending to those who are planning
it sounds to me, Prof, that you're already we're should I say, scratching the surface of another conversation altogether, which someone initiated yesterday. Look, why does a trial have to take up to 5 years? Go to the Supreme Court now, they have a library of outstanding cases, but we don't want to go there right now. Well, I was talking, let's close with some initiatives to the people who have just taken their jobs now. If you were to give them an agenda, top 3 must do. And don't forget that there is the CDS, Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff. So just to give it some clarity, and of course we still have the Chief of Police, as I think you put it earlier. So if you were to give the team a top 3 to do, knowing what you know from your research about our security status in the country, what would be your top 3 to do?
I think the first thing is to first strengthen collaboration among security actors. This has to happen, like we cannot continue to, there's an aspect where you give credit to some institution because they announce they neutralize some group and then other people are not. We need to see this collaboration. It needs to really work fast. They need to develop mechanism so that politics does not, promote one institution against another. For example, military institution, the police undermine, or the Navy or others. I think this is very important. They have to work together. Second point, as I mentioned last time, even the armed group themselves have agenda. Islamic State, the global network to which ISWAP belongs, beginning of this year, they have their strategy. And the strategy they give to ISWAP is, look, we call it the team burning the camp. You have to establish this, and every month we follow their news. They deliver and they have reports. So you have to look also at the global one of the armed group that you are dealing with and to see how you can localize it. The third point actually has to do with, if you want to call a spade, it will help. If you are dealing with bandits, you are dealing with a armed group affiliated with a terrorist organization, and you call them bandits in order to make people not to be panicked, you are actually creating more problems. So we have to deal with them head on. And this is very important. For run away from politicizing security, get to the job and do it, talk less, make something sustainable. So if we tackle our crisis last 2 years and we are mentioning it this time, it means we do not develop a sustainable strategy.
All right. Well, we spent so long on that one, and I can understand your passion, Sogini. But, Prof, your top 3 to do, you have 30 seconds.
Well, I think the first one, your last speaker already covered that. That should be collaboration across the agencies. I mean, one of the problems that we have in Nigeria is agencies working in silos. That has to go. Then number 2, for me, there needs to be a revisiting of the conceptual basis of security operation in Nigeria. I think we have been so far, I think we have operated a very, very conservative and highly traditional system that is not as effective as it should have been to the 21st century security outlay. Then for me, the third one is transparency. That is very important. That's across the agencies. There is no point in hiding and concealing information that will be very, very beneficial to people in terms of the security status of the country. There's nothing wrong in coming out to say, look, we have a challenge, we have a problem. These and these and these are our problems, and we want people to be able to help us with them. It is very important. So inter-agency collaboration is very important. Conceptual orientation of the entire armed forces in Nigeria is very important, and transparency of government security agencies is equally important.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. They've effectively reduced your own comment time to just 8 seconds. Your top 3 very quickly. What they should do, the new set of people in charge.
Well, I believe that their work must have been spelled out for them by the Mr. President. We can't know more than the person that employed them. So he has what he has told them to do, and we expect that we should start seeing the results. And also, speaking on inter-agency collaboration, management of classified information, when it's shared, when they are shared with them, should be upheld within the context of the laws that govern handling of such. And the beauty of what has just happened is also to let Nigerians know that a lot, are happening that they are not even aware of. This is just one leakage, and I know we don't know how many of such documents that they've shared over the years that we are not even aware of. It means that they are working.
Our security.
No, as in they have shared and we are not aware because there was no leakage. And if there wasn't any leakage, we wouldn't have known that they've actually cleared some terrorist cells within those axes, and will continue to think as if our intelligence agencies are not working. They are working. And like I gave that analogy of when the child is quiet and mothers start getting worried. Now when everywhere is cool, we think that nothing is happening, but that was when a lot are actually happening, and intelligence agencies are clearing them quietly without creating panic.
Thank you. Our time is up. I must thank you. Again, your time was short, but it's very impactful.
Thank you.
Dr. Seyi Adetayo, former DSS operative, publisher, Aeon's Intelligence. A pleasure having you on the program today. We also have Professor Ademola Abbas, Professor of International Law, Global Security Analyst, who joined us from our Abuja studios. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And Dr. Oyewole Ogini, senior researcher, Bonn International Center for Conflict Studies. He joined us virtually. Thank you for your time this morning.
I have an axe to grind with our guests.
Which one?
None of them talked about technology or AI.
Yeah.
None of them talk about communication. But no, let's start another topic. We'll be right back for another one. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Golden Gate Investment is backed by over a decade of combined experience in real estate, wealth management, and market analysis, is dedicated to creating value and delivering exceptional investment opportunities. Why? Because real estate remains one of the most resilient and rewarding investment sectors. Now, with the launch of a fund, which we'll be hearing more about shortly, the organization has strategically positioned itself to navigate current market dynamics, rising housing demands, shifting rates, and evolving economic trends while focusing on sustainable growth and risk-adjusted returns. Well, the founder and CEO of Golden Gate Investment joins us this morning, Andrew Enofe. We thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. So, first of all, let's begin with a backstory of sorts. Your organization has been making headlines both in Nigeria and Canada. Now, maybe you want to begin by telling us what the inspiration is for the decision to bring these investment opportunities home.
Amazing. Thanks again for having me this morning. My name is Andrew Enofe. I'm a real estate broker. I've been in the industry for close to 20 years right now. And I've seen the demand and the opportunity in the real estate industry. So based on the demand, continuous demand, that's why we have created this new initiative called the Golden Gate Investment. It gives opportunity to those that wants to purchase house directly in Canada, those that have funds that want to invest in Canadian real estate, and also give opportunity for those that don't have the full money to buy the property in Canada, also give them the opportunity to contribute into a pool of funds that will be invested in the Canadian real estate market. And lastly, also give them the opportunity to have an immigration pathway to Canada while they invest with us, right? They'll have the opportunity to come to Canada, relocate their family to Canada, and live in Canada while they also have a secured investment.
But, you know, there are many investment opportunities like yours. So there are, naturally you get questions like, what's the difference between your organization, what your organization is offering, and what other investment products are offering?
Amazing. That's a great question. We don't sell rates. We don't tell you you're going to get rich overnight, but we say guarantee. We say you security. We say you peace of mind, right? Like other organizations, they might offer you 10, 15, 20, 30%. These are not sustainable, right? But we sell you guarantee, peace of mind that, okay, we'll offer you X a dollar of return, but with that dollar of return, you're sure you're going to get a return because these are secured and backed up by Canadian real estate. So investing with us, we don't just only have the experience because we've been in this industry for many, many years, and it's an expansion, right? It's not a trial and error. This is not our first time of getting into this business. We've been in existence. We've done real estate. We have background in real estate, in finance, in property management. So with us is not a new initiative, but it's an expansion based on success, based on growth, right? That's why we are expanding our initiative. We're expanding our business to Nigeria and to the larger community. And secondly, we have our personal funds and resources invested in this initiative. So we're not telling the public or the Nigerians or Nigerian diaspora to buy into an initiative that we don't have skin in, right? This is what we do, and this is the area we are very, very successful at. That's why we're expanding our operations.
Right, and there's often, skepticism about cross-border investments, especially, people here in Nigeria. A lot of people have been burnt, they've lost investments and what have you. So, how do you ensure that people's investments are safe? I know you just said now that, you've also invested your funds, you're really deep into this. But, people are who they are. They're skeptical, they're pessimistic about such things and wonder if it really will work.
Amazing. It's a great question because there are a lot of people that dive into industries, into business that they don't know anything about or they shouldn't have been into, right? With us at the Golden Gate, as I alluded to, we have our skin in the game, right? And Canada is not a country whereby you can start an investment and it doesn't work, you just disappear into the thin air. There are systems, there are law. It's an environment that works, right? And this is backed up by real estate. So we're not selling stock or bonds or selling paper guaranteed, right? You can actually feel it, you touch it, right? This is your investment, right? So it's a secure environment, it's a secure system, and we are here to stay. We're expanding, right? It's not a new initiative that we're trying to get people to sign up with or to join us to build. We've already built, we're established, but we're just expanding our opportunities for those in Nigeria that wants to have investment international, that also wants to secure their funds. Looking at the depreciation, the devaluation of the Naira compared to the dollar, and also looking at the inflation rates. So we investing in Canada, there are regulations. The system is designed in a way that you don't even have to be in Canada to invest, or you don't have to be in Canada to even manage your investment. That's why we also give the opportunity to those that wants to immigrate to Canada. We'll give them and their family the opportunity to immigrate. And we also have a platform whereby we can invite all our investors to come to Canada and see their investments. So I understand there are a lot of people that have come and gone, people that have skeptical about investing in foreign nations, but rest assured, Canada is one of the safest places to invest, and the law works in Canada.
Just a quick one, Mr. Inofe. Is there a website people can get information right now about what you're talking about?
Yes. We have a website. It's called the Golden Gate Investments.com. It's the Golden Gate Investments with an X.com. You can log in there and actually see what we do. And we're actually having a webinar today to educate the public about what we do. Once you log into that website, you'll be able to register for the webinar. It's going to be 2 p.m. Nigerian time today. You see what we do, you read about us, and yeah, you can find more about the Golden Gate Investments through the website.
Because the next question that I would like to ask you is borders on something, about something that sounds very, very impossible. So one of the things that I have heard you claim, and you may want to speak to whether it is possible or not, is that I can own a property in Canada and not live there. Is that correct?
Well, that is correct, right? You're going to invest through the Golden Gate Investments, right? So we manage the property for you, right? The investment, the Golden Gate help you buy the property. We manage the property. We can either put it through for a rental short-term lease or a long-term lease, depends on your investment desire. And then you get a return from the renter, or if you want to keep it for yourself and family, you can also do that. But you have to get this property through the Golden Gate Investment, because there's a law that a foreign investor cannot buy property directly in Canada, right? But you can get it through the Golden Gate Investment.
I'm going to ask that question again because it's sounding too, number one, too good to be true. So if a Nigerian, right, wants to purchase a property in Canada and not live in the country, now, tell us how does it all work? What's the fellow's responsibility? How does he manage or rather monitor his investments and all of that?
Amazing. Okay, so if a Nigerian wants to purchase a property in Canada, they are purchasing the property through us, right, through the Golden Gate Investment. I'm a licensed real estate broker in Ontario, so I can sell real estate within the region of Ontario, right? You purchase the property through the Golden Gate Investment. The Golden Gate Investment help you manage this property, right? You're not living here, we can help you rent the property if you want to rent the property. We also have a management company that can actually help you, right, managing this property, giving the reports about the situation of the property. So we do this on your behalf, right? So you purchase the property through us, and we help you manage this property under the Golden Gate investment platform, right? So we are responsible for the management of the property and also helping you in the purchase of this property.
Confirm that this is your website, Mr. Inofe.
Yes, it is the website.
Okay, I see minimum investment right there. Can you tell us about that?
Okay, amazing. We have 4 investment opportunities, right? Number 1 investment opportunity are those that wants to purchase property in Canada. You see, we help them purchase the property and also help them manage for the management of the property. But all these have to go through the Golden Gate investment. It's legal. We have all documentations. We have lawyers in place. You can have your own lawyer to process or help you in your own end. And secondly, the investment we're doing right now, we're raising funds for what we call private mortgage, second mortgages, whereby investors invest a minimum of $50,000 with us to invest in the private funds. All the private funds are secured against real estate. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. There are a lot of people that own properties in Canada and they need extra money to pay off their line of credit or do renovations, and they cannot easily access this money sometimes through the bank. So they come to us, then we'll help them, we'll loan them the money. Minimum interest rate is 8%, but depends on the term, the number of years you're going to invest your funds with us can reach up to 11%. So we'll help them invest the money, secure it against real estate. When they do sell or refinance the property, we'll get our money back. So the minimum investment is $50,000 to start with these funds. It's called the private mortgage funds.
Right, and you know, I can see you mentioned, or did I get an inkling of, pathways to Canadian permanent residency with these investments? Can you explain more about that so that, people like I who are skeptical will actually, maybe want to purchase or know someone who does?
Amazing. Full disclaimer, we are not immigration, right? We don't work with the immigration and we don't guarantee permanent residents, but there are a lot of government, programs that enable investors to get permanent residents to Canada. So what we do is a part of our overall package, is an add-on. You invest a certain amount with us, then you invest a certain amount for the permanent resident pathway to Canada, right? There are several government programs and opportunities that as an investor, you can have permanent resident for yourself and your family to immigrate to Canada. We do all these things legitimately. It's not, there's no back door, right? So we know the front door and know the rules, and then we'll help you in help with our lawyers and consultants to actually get your permanent resident. However, you need to qualify and you need to meet the immigration criteria.
All right. So tell us a little more about you said you have a webinar today?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about it.
Amazing. The webinar is actually to discuss in details about what we do, how we can actually help those that are interested to come to Canada through investment pathway. So we'll tell you, okay, if you invest X amount of dollars with us and also invest in a business, or we'll look at the profile, we'll look at the specific government, program that works for you, because every individual needs are different. So we're going to base it based on your individual needs and based on the criteria you fit into. So we have the webinar coming today, and we'll talk about the investment. We need a minimum of $50,000. That is the investment. We have 1 year or we have 5 years, depending on how long you want to invest. Or if you want to buy a property, this is not a third-party transaction. As I said, I'm a licensed real estate broker, licensed to sell in Ontario. So we can help you buy the property. We have the team of people that can also help you manage the property. We can list it out for short-term or long-term, depending on your needs and your family needs. And perhaps you said, okay, you want to just put funds into the real estate funds. So we have real estate funds that will buy apartment buildings, residential, that you can be a part of. Then we split the profit at the end of the year or at the end of 2 years.
One of the things that I know one of the questions that I know a number of people are going to be asking you is security of their investments. Among other things that gives people reason to be skeptical is cross-border investments. So how do you ensure that investors' funds are safe and secure? You know, I asked a question the other time, Mr. Inofe, about how does an investor monitor their investments? Maybe that's one of the ways that, you know, at least the skeptics can be assured.
Thank you. We get these questions a lot, right, based on the environment of the country. For example, Canada, which we operate on trust-based system, right? So we first trust before we ask question, because the law works, the system works, the legal process works. You don't have to be in Canada to sue someone, or you don't have to be in Canada to actually monitor your investment. All these are transparent, right? You have your reports. You have the reports of how the property is going. You can ask your lawyer or ask any lawyer to help you check the property, check what is happening, right? So a cross-border investment might be a new scary for some people, but you have to diversify your funds. You have to diversify your investments. You can come actually to Canada if you have a visa to come to Canada, or we have a program coming up that we're going to invite all our investors to come to Canada and see what we're doing and see where their funds are directly invested into. So there are always challenges, regardless where you're investing your funds. There are always challenges, but it matters the integrity of the people you're dealing with, the trust of the people, the brand, the name. We have a name. We've built a name over these years. We built our reputation that we're not going to ruin our operation for a few thousands or millions of dollars, right? So this is what we do. This is what we've been doing for ages, and there are all legal documentations that back it up. Remember, your investment is secured against real estate. So it's not secured on a stock or any piece of paper. It's secured against real estate. And most of these funds are debt. So we're raising these funds as debt for the investors. So we literally owe you this money, right? If we don't pay, God forbid, stuff happen, is a debt that we owe you that you can enforce in any part of the world, specifically in Canada, where the law works and the regulations works in Canada.
Right. Real estate is often, you know, considered, you know, a long-term play. Why do you believe that now is the right time to invest in Canada?
Amazing. Canada is one of the top a safe and secure place to invest your funds based on real estate, based on the economy. As I will always say, the right time to invest is yesterday, right? Because tell me, we are in the studio right now. So in this studio is real estate, right? So every aspect of our life, everything we need in life, we need real estate, right? Is it that you are driving on the road, you're going to the hospital, you're going to school, is real estate. So why will I not put my money in a product I use every day, the product I have access to every day? 99% of the millionaires become rich through real estate. So there's no doubt if real estate is the way or not the way. It's one of the best secured and guaranteed ways to invest your property, your funds. So right now is the best time. Yesterday actually was the best time to invest in real estate because you invest and wait. They are not creating more lands, right? So why would I not put my money in investment that is limited in resource, in limited? So real estate is one of the safest and quickest way in the long term to make money and build generational wealth.
Well, just a quick reminder again, what time that virtual meeting you talked about is going to hold today?
It's going to be 2 p.m. today, 2 p.m. Nigeria time.
Okay.
So it's going to be 2 p.m. and the website is thegoldengateinvestments.com. So you can log in, you can ask your questions, and we can actually have a one-on-one meeting with you to discuss your needs, because every individual needs or every investor's needs are different. Then we will provide a solution that is specifically tailored to address your needs and concerns.
All right, thank you very much. So for clarity, the Golden Gate Investments is goldengateinvestments.com. Just so you know. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. Andrew Inofe is founder and CEO of Golden Gate Investments Incorporated. He joins us virtually from the USA. Thank you again for your time.
Canada.
From Canada. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Now, when we return, there's another conversation we're having. To stay with us.
Welcome back to a very important subject matter, and I think this the importance is global, not just to Lagos or to Nigeria.
And the concerns are around you right now. Right now.
Right now.
In fact, you are using it.
You are using it. You are guilty.
This is one of them. But the difference is what? Pollution. Pollution,
yes.
This one is not pollution.
It could be if you don't get rid of it in an appropriate manner.
Didn't you hear the word is present tense?
We're talking about addressing plastic pollution, which has become a real problem, really, especially in Lagos State where we are. Everybody wants to be Lagos. The bigger the population, the more problematic waste management is, and then the more problematic the management of that waste that doesn't disintegrate. So
non-degradable.
Non-degradable. So we're right. Plastic pollution is a pressing issue that affects the environment on a global scale. I think I mentioned that earlier. Even like what the excessive use of plastics has led to an increase in plastic waste that is not only harmful to wildlife and marine ecosystems, but also poses significant threats to human health. Therefore, it's crucial to address plastic pollution before it worsens. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, plastic has become ubiquitous in our lives, but it hasn't always been this way. In the mid-20th century, plastic production was relatively low, and so was plastic waste. However, from the 1970s through to the 1900s, plastic waste generation increased dramatically, reflecting a surge in production, and in the early 2000s, plastic waste generation skyrocketed, surpassing the previous 40 years' production, and so on and so on. We can go on and on and on about this, but we are going to talk about it. Ademola Ogunsheson is the Director, Technical Programs, Nigerian Conservation Foundation. He joins us. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. And we also have Olushomi Oduguwa, Head of Communications and Corporate Branding, Nigerian Conservation Foundation. He also joins us in the studio today. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Maybe for clarity. I'm sorry, Shola. Okay, I'm here again. No, don't worry. You know why, so don't even say. Define plastic pollution. Here is why. We jokingly said the other time that it could be pollution, but sometimes, even if it is English language, it can have different meanings or communicate different meanings if one is not clear on what it is. So, beyond the technicalese, what do we mean by plastic pollution?
Specifically, when you dispose of plastic inappropriately, and it becomes a challenge, both either to the ecology or humans.
So essentially, it's post-disposal.
That's the main issue, because at one point, it is quite useful. It's a means. The way it came from, it shows that mobility, human mobility, brought out the necessity. Things used to be in bottled, and because we are not as mobile as this, but as the world becomes more mobile, we're on the go, and you cannot take bottles around. Then the plastic came into the show. Then as we became more mobile, the issue of how do we dispose it becomes an issue. So for four of us, if we had to take a drink inside a plastic, the means of disposal will tell us whether this place becomes littered or it's clean after disposal, after usage. And so that's important, that having plastic is actually not the challenge, but how do we manage post-usage? It's a very important thing across different landscapes.
Perhaps one of the challenges there, Mr. Odugua, is as Joke, chronicled the history or the evolution of our use of these. Okay, maybe I should use single-use plastics in most cases because sometimes some of them are reusable. In most cases, some of them are not reusable. So perhaps, and I think it is also one of the challenges of innovation. We take the innovation, but the transition is usually something we don't. We look at the solution, but we don't look at. We don't pay attention to some things that follow. So, do you see that? How significant is that?
Well, of course, this is, like you rightly said, it's a critical issue and something that we need to really focus and zone in on. Of course, because plastic, like you also rightfully mentioned, it's something that we practically use in our day-to-day life. Every point now we use plastic. Like I highlighted, some parts and components of our phones, plastics were used to design it. Even on the go, when people take water, it's something that is constantly being used. But when we now look at the transition and how people use it, and that's why we have issues sometimes. You see recently, with the rainy season just over, you see the island and how flooded it got. And the issues that some people practically had in their homes. And it now begs the question, how you manage this plastic? Where does it result to? For lack of proper management, some of these plastics find their way to the drainage to clog the waterways. And Lagos being a coastal community, this thing really affects us. And so it now begs the question on how do we pay attention to transitioning this plastic, like you mentioned, and that's where the key component comes about recycling. Recycling, so we like to paint the different R's that we have: recycling, refusing, reusing. So all of these vital components now come to play. So after, like you pointed out, after you drink your water, what do you do with the plastic? What do you do with it? Where do you dispose it of? And so I think proper management is key, talking about the transition from the usage to properly managing and then putting it back into the system.
Yeah, really, Mr. Ogucheson, I mean, he said quite a lot, and I beg to say that awareness also plays, a huge part in this. The 3 R's. I mean, I know about it. He knows about it. I beg to differ that, the regular people don't care. They just continue. There's a particular shop that I know of. It's a Nigerian thing. They sell your plastic. If you want to, once you clear at the counter, you buy a plastic bag to put your things in. If you don't have, they have cartons that they used to deliver their goods to the shop. You can go away with the cartons. That way, they get rid of their cartons. You, the consumer, you go away with your goods in it if you so choose, and then you can discard if you like. But you buy a plastic bag. They sell the plastic bags to you. That's way, or they say bring your own plastic bags if you want to shop with us. That's a good way of recycling or ensuring that you don't have so much of that, in the society. So you see people, but how does this awareness, get to who it's supposed to get to? Instead of saying these to people, why don't we enforce, all these bukaterias and restaurants that also offer to sell things, food to you in plastics, to say, tell people to bring their own food flasks if they want to buy at your shop. That way, people come along with their stuff, buy their food and go away. No plastics involved. Because we're going to get home and find a way of throwing the plastic somewhere because you can't get rid of it. So there's more production of plastic. It keeps piling up. How do we get rid of it? That's the only way, I think.
Well, I would like to come from something a bit different, and is the economics. Now, for every time there's a purchase of a groceries, and you issue out a single-use nylon plastics, it also eats at your profits because it's part of the packaging people are expecting. Now, with payment, people now get more money in their pocket because the packaging component of what most shops have to pay for is reducing. So there's actually more money in your pocket if you look at it from that angle. Talking about awareness and people, sometimes they are around you are not properly disposed. So the rally helps us to speak to all these different spectrum of people, corporate bodies, the government themselves, they're involved, and it helps us to push for change in policy. Because now we find out there's a need for this. That's one of the things that led to the ban of single plastic use. And so the idea is that this rally would sensitize people more, give us an opportunity to talk to a lot of people and point out things to them. Because as we are passing, you'll be passing beside, drainages, and we tell them, you can see it's practical. And you can say, if this happens continuously and there's a downpour now, where does the water go? It deflates water into your homes, into your shops, and thereby leading to economic loss. So the idea is to continuously engage people, and working with Lagos State government is very key as the leading economy in Nigeria.
It's interesting that you said on the one hand that this initiative, this advocacy has been going on for quite a while, for a number of years. What inroads, maybe I should ask it this way, what are the lessons you have? What are the things you've discovered? Mr. Dugu was speaking earlier, talked about need for attitudinal change. What are the things that you have discovered over the years, and what are the gaps, that, from on the one hand from the people, and the gaps also from the government side, particularly the local government administrations?
Well, it helps us to engage policymakers and tell them the need. And sometimes a whole policy you don't really need to change, but you need to change the key things and strategies there. It also helps us to talk to corporate bodies who are in the line of packaging. It also helps us to talk about the need to put finances. It's quite, you'll be shocked that it's more difficult, it's more expensive to use recycled material. And that's one of the reasons why people keep churning it out, because recycling is more expensive. You pointed something out about fast-moving restaurants. Now, if you go to any of the big restaurants, you have an opportunity of getting your food in degradable material, plastics, paper bag, but it's more expensive. So we might be looking at intervention to reduce the cost of that kind of production as support to reduce plastic waste. We might also be looking at changing policy to encourage circular economy. It's huge. If you are recycling something about 10% of 2.5 million metric ton, that's a huge economic loss, which is also becoming an ecological problem. So this rally helps us to have that kind of interaction. Recyclers will also be part of the work. And so it's an opportunity to network. It's an opportunity to talk to people. It's an opportunity to showcase some of the things people are using plastic. A lot of our painters and artists are now creative, using plastic waste as a means of their arts. And so these are things and opportunity. And children will be part of it. And we have been deliberate about that. We put recycled bins across our conservation clubs. And what we encourage them to do, you need a stencil, a cardboard. From the plastic waste, you can generate fund for your conservation club. So these will be things we'll be talking about. For new schools, we encourage them to have a conservation club, to have recycle bins, which will link them up to recyclers. And so we're deliberately creating value chain, at the same time supporting government to look at new policy issues that will help to reduce plastic pollution.
Interesting. What Mr. Ogumbeson just said now just brings something interesting to mind.
Yes.
Social media.
Yeah.
All right.
as a way of communicating this very, very important initiative. What are the limitations we are having from engaging these stakeholders, getting some of the influencers, we call them, in the social media space in on this conversation? Because if they also see how important it is, maybe we'll have some support from them.
Very true. Yeah, correct. And also, taking the cue for where you stop, I'd like also mention something very important and unique about this year's rally that we have going in Discovery. We also realize a very important fact is that a large chunk of Nigeria's population, about 50% of the country's population, are young people under 35.
More than 50%.
More than 50%. And so it begs the question that anything you are doing, any advocacy, any awareness, any drive you are doing, you have to target this particular demographic. And how do you reach them? You have to curate your message specifically for them. And that's the beautiful thing about this year's Work for Nature rally, because it's going to be taking place in Yabatek, which is a school, of course, the school environment, and moving from the streets and taking the message directly to where you find the young people. But also by extension, to also look at your question, social media is a very interesting component. And also we realize that from the course of our work, we realize that oftentimes environmental message is not the first point of call for young people per se. And so one thing that we try to do is to find interesting ways to make the message more appealing for them. And what do we do that? We also did do that, but of course now there's a huge crave and desire for instance, for podcasts. And that's something that we've introduced as an organization. We have a new podcast called the Niger Eco Vibes podcast that helps to break down this supposedly huge environmental message into small bits and chunks and relatable ways that younger people can flow the message. So that's one way we are looking to attract and tackle this issue, this challenge you mentioned. By default, younger people are not so interested in the environment. Their thinking is like, okay, before I was born, the environment was there, nature is here. I'm here, it's still here. After I'm gone, it will still be here. So why do what's the difference? But now I'm trying to draw their attention to the fact that sustainability, how you use nature, how you use the environment, how you interact with the environment plays a key role in how the next generation will find it. And so we try to pass across this message to them in interesting ways, telling stories about it, using methods they can communicate. And of course, we have influencers coming on board on our podcast to liaise with us and break down the message in ways that the younger generation can assimilate.
Perhaps it might also help to let them know the money-making parts.
Yes.
Thank you, the money-making part.
I have seen some recycling initiatives. In fact, I think we hosted someone on Channels Television recently who was talking about how they used PET bottles to build houses that are bulletproof.
Interesting.
And, well, needless to say, it's very expensive to build such a house. But, you know, that's one. I've also seen someone use, some kind of impossible stuff to make clothes, and he wore it into the studio.
Interesting. Sorry, I was also going to add to that. You know, interesting, he talked about the conservation schools we have. We have over 600 conservation clubs across secondary schools in Nigeria. And so what we're trying to do is, because behavior change is very key for us, and so we understand that you have to catch people young while in their formative stage and let this message, let them imbibe. It's
the opportunities in that we need to create. Yes, I remember now. Yes. The lady said she used old tires.
Right.
To convert old tires into clothes. Into shoes, into bags.
Yes.
Let me say it in pidgin. My oval was gasted and my flabber was whelmed. So I think maybe that's another angle of the communication.
Yes, and I think that's also something we do at NCA, because for us we usually call it upcycling in secondary schools. This tire you talked about, they use it as part of, like, instead of this table now, they use tires to come up with these things. They use plastic to come up with flower vases. And also teach them, they can also, like you mentioned, also explain to them you can monetize these things. And so that also gets them, that also piques their interest. And so I think this is a good way to drive this message.
I really don't understand. I don't know how you're going to do it, but to tell people that recycled stuff are good, but then you have to go and pick them from place to place. That's another thing that will probably bust their brains. But I'll leave that to you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.
Olushomi Odugua is Head of Communication and Corporate Branding, Nigerian Conservation Foundation. We appreciate your time as well. As Mr. Adedamola Ogunsheson, Director, Technical Programs, Nigerian Conservation Foundation. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Yes, when we return, we'll talk about how we recycle your mouth. Okay, I said we were going to tell you how you recycle your mouth. Well, it's not really recycling your mouth. Because, the real reason is, we're talking about preventing pollution the other time. Preventing plastic pollution.
Mouth pollution.
Mouth.
I know book.
A first degree holder.
First degree.
Sorry.
First class.
Whatever. Something degree, sha. Because, what we found out is that many dental problems are also preventable and treatable. Whether or not that is the case, you will find out, but the caveat is that it has to be detected early. Now, unfortunately, oral diseases remain one of the most common health challenges worldwide. And what's interesting for me about it is that it's a lifestyle issue. I mean, tooth decay, gum disease, gum loss. It's a function of lifestyles and changing diets and all of that. But maybe that is what my little research has said. But let's talk to someone who knows what this whole thing is about this morning. Our guest is an orthodontic consultant and clinical director at the Twist Dental Specialist Hospital. Thank you for joining us this
morning, sir. Thank you for having me.
Orthodontist.
Orthodontics. Orthodontics, yes.
What does that mean?
Okay, so orthodontics is a specialty in dentistry that deals with the diagnosis, the prevention, management, and correction of misaligned teeth and jaws. And then it also deals with the modification of jaw growth. And so it's called dentofacial orthopedics. So bottom line, a lot of people know about braces. Yes, so that's our specialty.
Oh, by the way, just on the side, there's something that they are selling now on plastic that you put in your mouth and it will help you to be shaping your mouth. Is that also?
Okay, so you're probably talking about aligners.
Yes.
Yes, okay, but I do know that there are some that people buy online. I do not subscribe to that. Okay. I believe that it's good to seek the advice of a specialist. So when we talk about braces, they are the ones that people call train tracks. They are classic braces. They're called brackets and wires. People may be concerned about aesthetics in terms of that because some of them are stainless steel. So when you smile, they see them. Although there are other versions that are not, in terms of more aesthetically pleasing, ceramic braces. But there are some challenges that come with managing braces, that's the brackets and wires. Of course, there has to be modification of diet during the period of treatment. And you may also have to remove certain things from your diet, like anything hard that could break the brackets of the teeth. But that's where aligners come in.
Person cannot chop a cow leg.
The bones.
I'm just saying.
But ideally, we're not even supposed to eat bones.
Yes. They have started again.
I know. You get calcium.
Okay, so you see, these things are some of the myths with dentistry. So people come in and say, oh, when I chew my bones, I get calcium from it. But the actual truth is that the way our dentition is, the anatomy of it, it's not meant for chewing bones. So this is what I say to my patients. I liken it to, when you chew bones, it's like taking a small pebble and throwing it at your windscreen. It doesn't shatter it, but it leaves tiny crack lines on it. And you see, the teeth can be likened to metal. It expands and it contracts. So every time you eat hot food or you drink hot tea, you drink cold water or cold ice cream, your teeth goes through that process of expanding and contracting. And so if you keep eating the bones actually insults the teeth. So with time, you will have pieces of your teeth falling out. So I have patients who come in and say, oh, doc, I was chewing bread and then a piece of my tooth fell out.
What about the briskets?
No, I'm coming to that one. I'm waiting for her.
And a piece of my tooth fell out. And this is because of years of insult from chewing bones. So our teeth are actually not meant to chew bones like canine animals, like dogs.
Well, they are soft bones.
Wait, so she asked about brisket, what we call biscuit bone.
Yes.
Then there is chicken leg, drumstick.
That one, you find in trouble.
There's sweets to eat. Why are you doing this to us?
No, because that's the truth. You see, so the thing is that...
Let me see properly. Because this matter is serious.
It is, actually, it is. So the thing is that, because a lot of people enjoy the marrow, I hear them say, oh, we have to chew something. We need to nibble on these bones. But like I said earlier, apart from the fact that it leaves crack lines, thin crack lines on the teeth, it also wears down the occlusion. So if you look at the surface of the teeth, it wears down the teeth.
Oh.
So if you look at, like, for example, the molars are the teeth towards the back.
Yeah.
They are more for grinding and chewing. And most times if you chew your bones, you use the teeth at the back, right? So the surfaces of those teeth are actually not smooth like a tabletop. They are actually like a mountainous area. So you see, you have mountains and you have valleys. The mountainous areas are cusps. The pits in between, the valleys in between them are called pits. And that's how the structure or the anatomy of the tooth is.
Yes.
When you begin to chew bones, they are very hard and abrasive. They tend to cause wearing down of those surfaces. And you see, teeth is in layers. So when you smile, the first thing we see is enamel. Underneath enamel is another layer called dentine. And within the tooth is a soft place called the pulp, where you have the nerves and the blood vessels. So if you keep chewing on these bones, whether you call them the brisket, you call them the chicken bones, or the pomo, the gongon, or whatever it is, it wears down the surfaces of the teeth. So this is what I say. I liken it to when I was younger, my mother had a grinding stone. I know we would understand that. As we grind pepper on that stone, you find that the middle portion, where all the force is concentrated on, becomes eroded. Yeah. So it's dished in, like that. And that's what happens to the surface of the teeth. So, and because you see, a lot of times in the mouth, the things that go on, 90% of the times, there might not be pain, because that's what it's when I have pain that I know something is wrong. These insults go on over the years, and then by the time you're older, we now begin to see the telltale signs. So you come down with things like teeth sensitivity. Okay, so you now say, oh, I'm sitting in an AC room and my teeth is shocking. Or I drink cold water, I can no longer drink cold water, my teeth is shocking, because the chewing of those bones have eroded the enamel, which is supposed to be the protective layer on your tooth, and has exposed the next layer, which is
Please come and start going. Come and start going. Come and start going.
But this is the truth.
What? We can't eat biscuit again. We can't eat soft bone, so ordinary soft bone.
No.
So this thing where when little kids, toddlers,
yes,
your 1-year-old and your 2-year-olds, they're starting to bring up, like, let me say 1-year-old teeth in, and they say, oh, give them the chicken feet. Let them chew on it to help them with their troubled gums and all that. That's an absolute bog.
So the thing is that with teething, what usually happens to children is that as those teeth are erupting into the mouth, they develop within the bone. There is a bit of itching, let me just put it that way, for them, a bit of discomfort as those teeth are coming into the mouth. What we subscribe to, or what we recommend, is that you give them what we call teething rings, toys that are soft, and then you could put them in the fridge, make them cold. So the science behind that is that as they nibble on those things, it gives them some relief from the itching, and then the coolness of the teething rings it's almost like if you hit your knee and you have a bit of inflammation, okay, the cool or the ice will cool the area and help to subside. So that's what happens. But you giving them the chicken bones and all of that, well, it may do the same thing like the teething rings, but it's not something I would subscribe to.
I would imagine that before you got into this, your specialty, bones, you were chewing bones. When did you start coming to terms with, oh my, I can't do this anymore? Oh, yes. And how painful was it for you?
Or maybe, when you first heard that I have to stop eating bone.
Yes, do you still eat bones?
No, I don't.
Oh, come on.
No, I don't.
Even a little bit?
No.
Okay.
Because you see, the truth is that you may enjoy them now, but you will pay for them later.
So how did it come to you? How did it happen to you? You had to now change culture.
So a lot of that happened when I got into medical school.
Yes.
Because around here, the idea is, oh, if you chew your bones, you get the calcium from it. And that's why we're creating that awareness, you know. By the time I got into medical school and started doing dentistry, I found out that those things are harmful habits. And unfortunately, there are a lot of things that people do daily, very harmful habits, that instead of helping them preserve their teeth for a lifetime, are actually destroying them, you know. So at that point, like brushing, for example, there was a way I used to brush until I got into school and found out that there is a proper technique to brushing. So just like how we're talking about the bones, some people brush with a lot of violence. Yeah. Like I had somebody who said, when my spouse brushes, you know, in the other room, I can hear in the other room. It's like war is going on, you know. And so we're creating that awareness and letting people know that you don't have to put too much force. I don't know if it's something about us as a people that it must be done with power, you know. It's not necessarily about the force. It's not necessarily about putting power into these things. It's more of a technique. Because when we talk about brushing, brushing is the mechanical removal of plaque from the tooth surface. Okay. And of course, like I always say to my patients, plaque is something that we all have. Okay. Everybody has plaque.
Okay, and talking about technique, please help us. How do we get these minus 10-year-olds to brush because they never want to open their mouth. Okay. They don't. So what technique do you use, you know, as a parent to help, you know, your little ones achieve proper oral hygiene? Because it's a war, you know, each morning to get them to brush it. That's why you're the general. Until they become like maybe pre-teens, and then they start getting aware, and they, you know, and then they now believe that they now do everything to, you know, to look prim and proper and to be nice. I can take care of myself. I'm not a baby. I can do it. But before that, it's war trying to get them to brush. So what can you use as a parent to actually, you know, get your, you know, between 5 to 9-year-olds, or like from baby to whatever, to before pre-10-year-olds, to actually be able to help them to maintain their oral hygiene, especially this brushing of teeth war. It's always war.
It's a war, I know. Okay, so one of the things that you know, I always say to my parents is that there are children's toothbrushes. The toothbrush has a smaller head, because definitely a child's mouth is much smaller than mine, you know, or yours. So they need to get a brush that has a smaller head so that it fits in comfortably. You know, sometimes if the head of the toothbrush is big, like some brands are, they're really big, and it gets in there with a lot of discomfort, that can discourage the child from brushing. Yeah, okay. So in their minds, they may associate brushing time with trauma time. Yeah. So get a toothbrush that is age appropriate, that has a small head. And then secondly, the bristles also matter. Yeah. For children, the bristles are softer. So it's softer on the gums, it's softer on the teeth. And then another thing that I say to them is, make it fun. Find something, you know, that would make it fun for you and your child. You can put them in front of the mirror, they can stand on a stool, look at your teeth, you know, different things, something to make it fun, or sing.
On school morning?
Yes, on school morning. No. If it means us waking a little bit earlier so that we can get it done, we get it done. Like I remember then when my kids were small, we had different types of songs that we used to sing. So there was one of them, squeaky, 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 squeaky clean, squeaky, 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 squeaky clean. And because they loved the song, it was a time to sing and also a time to bond, you know, with the children. The other thing is toothpaste. We have children toothpaste. And so some of them come with very nice flavors. Initially, you may need to experiment as a parent. Maybe your child may like the minty taste, strawberry flavor, but there are children's toothpaste, which is actually what...
When do you stop using children's toothpaste? At what age?
By the time the child is 10 plus and above, yes. Right. But when they're younger than that, you know, it's advisable to use the children's toothpaste.
I think it is coming to a time where we have to have a special episode of this conversation for children.
Yes.
it's clear. I mean, because many times when we talk about all of these issues on television, we talk about the adult alone, but we don't talk about the parental role.
Yes.
And then we don't talk about the conditions of the children and how it affects them. But, you know, so yes, we have to have that one.
Yeah.
But And there are many people who have, I mean, from your experience, you've been doing this for a bit, who have certain dental conditions that they have no explanation for.
Yeah.
For instance, someone just wakes up in the morning, for God's sake, Dr. John, just wakes up in the morning, JJ, and finds that the gum is swollen. I mean, I'm just saying, and you probably know a few others like that. What could be responsible? Are there telltale signs that you should have seen this coming, but you didn't?
Okay, so I always say to patients that nothing just happens. Just the way if your car is going to give you issues, when you put it on in the morning, there's a typical way that the engine should sound. If it gives a sound or a noise that is off, then you may not really know what it is, but you know that something is wrong. So nothing just happens, you know. So like the scenario you painted, somebody woke up in the morning and the gums are swollen. The gums won't just swell like that. So we'll have to look into a series of things. First and foremost, what is your oral hygiene like? Okay, how do you brush? Have you ever visited the dentist? Because we recommend that people should visit the dentist every 6 months, twice in a year. And so something as simple or as basic as scaling and polishing. Scaling and polishing is the mechanical removal of what we call calculus. So I talked about plaque earlier. Plaque is actually food debris mixed with saliva and bacteria. Let's not forget that the mouth contains bacteria naturally. Now, those things are soft. But if the oral hygiene is not optimal, you know, over time they become hard because there's calcium in saliva. And then they become firmly attached to the teeth and they're called calculus. Now, these things are foreign to the mouth. They tend to irritate the gums. They cause gum disease. The gums bleed. So you hear people say things like, oh, when I brush, I bleed. And a lot of people think it is normal. It is not. If you brush and you're bleeding, it is a sign that something is wrong. And if you do not pay attention to it, then you wake up and you have a swollen gum. Swollen gum could also be a sign of disease. Possibly you have a decay or a hole in your tooth decay. And people don't pay attention to those things. They'll, you know, I have a bit of an ache, they do warm salt and water, they gargle. I have a bit of an ache, they take painkillers to numb it so that we can get on our business and, you know, we're up and about. And then one day you wake up with a huge swelling. So those things don't just happen. There are always telltale signs. There is always something going on. So if you had formed the habit of coming in regularly for a routine check every 6 months, to have at least basic scaling and polishing, a dental examination will be done. And so that way, if anything is going wrong, it can be nipped in the bud. But having said that, there are certain conditions that can be seen in the mouth, because we always tell people that the mouth is a mirror of the body. And that's why I tell people that your general wellness is not complete until your oral health is good and sound, because it's a mirror to the mouth. So somebody who has, for example, diabetes and is not controlled, you can look into the mouth and there are certain things that you would see that would be a pointer, and you can send them for tests, and that would further confirm what you're, what you're thinking about as a clinician. So these things don't just happen. I believe that that's why we're creating this awareness. You know, when I was in school, the awareness for dentistry wasn't really there. It's better than how it was then. You know, this is like 20 plus years ago, but it can be better. Okay. It can be better.
At what point, maybe you want to also, you've mentioned a few of them, but at what point should any normal human being become concerned about their dental, or is it denture you call it?
Their dentition.
Their dentition. Thank you. At what point do they become concerned? One of the reasons why people probably do not go for the checks that you have recommended is it will cost. Yeah. I mean, some people just have that notion that it's costly, right? Now, if it is like that, it's a natural whatever. So at what point does one need to pay attention to their dentition?
Okay. So before I answer that, I want to say that dentistry is not expensive. Neglect is. Neglect is. And I will buttress that by saying, for example, the scenarios I painted earlier. So somebody has bleeding gums, for example. They brush in the morning, they spit out, and there's blood in the saliva or the foam of the paste that they've spat out. That is already a sign that something is wrong. And because a lot of people are not aware, they don't know. Okay? So, but if you get to go regularly for these checks and do the scaling and polishing, that would prevent it from getting, because from the gum disease, you can actually end up having periodontal disease, which is a disease of the support of the teeth, and you can end up with tooth loss. So you neglecting going for the dental checks would eventually cost you more. You can end up losing a tooth or teeth, you know, for that instance. So back to your question, at what point would we be concerned? For me, I feel simple things like, for example, you brush and your gums bleed. And I don't think you necessarily have to wait until there's pain. Because by the time there's pain, it's almost as though you're getting to the point of no return. For example, you never used to have sensitive teeth, and suddenly you're in an AC place and your teeth begins to shock. Or you drink cold water and you have a bit of a tingling sensation. At that point, you should be concerned. So it's enough for us to catch those signs early and not keep procrastinating. The moment you have something that's out, or you chew and you find that I can't chew on this side, I have to immediately move the food this way. I chew, I feel a bit of, not, you know, if you grade it on a scale of 1 to 10, you could say it's 3.
Some kind of discomfort.
But you do know that there's some kind of discomfort going in there. The moment you notice changes, things that were not happening before, and you begin to notice that they're happening now, at that point, you should be concerned. You should be.
Okay. So now that is the case, there are some people who don't want to. Me, I'm afraid to visit you people for one reason. You see that scale of polishing thing? You see that saw that you people used to put on somebody's teeth? Is used to, I don't know. Anyway, so then there's you talked about the coating that will make somebody's mouth to be shocking.
Yes.
Now, that experience is very, very discomforting.
Yeah.
How is it reversible?
So I would say yes, and I would say no. Yes, if we catch it early, because like I said, the teeth is in layers. Enamel is the first layer that coats the teeth. It's very strong, and it's a protective layer. It's even stronger than bone. Okay, so at that initial stage, when you're beginning to lose the enamel, either as a result of grinding of bones or abrasive stuff, or the brushing, using of hard brush to wear down, or even the taking of acidic drinks, carbonated drinks, fizzy drinks. These things can also cause what we call enamel erosion.
Wow.
So there are lots of things. Like now we're in the fit farm era, everybody wants to be healthy. But I find that a lot of people are drinking lemon water. Okay? It may have some health benefits, but it has very detrimental effects to the teeth. It causes what we call enamel erosion, you know. I think I've almost lost my thoughts there, you know. So yes, sorry, what was the question again? I've said so many things.
Maybe it's time to actually go to that particular specific, the reversal of
reversal,
that.
Exactly. So for something like that, if we catch it early, okay, when the damage is just starting, at that point we can speak to it. And then we would have to talk about lifestyle modification, like, for example, the bones thing. You need to do away with it. Because at that point, you may not be having sensitivity, because the tooth also has a way of compensating. So even though the wear is going on, the body has a way of compensating until it reaches the point of breakage. So at that point, we can address certain issues. We can address the brushing. We can address whatever it is you're doing that is causing the harm. Is it reversible? Not necessarily, because you see, unfortunately, the tooth is not like the skin, that if you have a cut or you have a wound or you have an abrasion, it can heal and cover up itself. Once you have lost tooth substance, it's lost. It's lost.
So how about You know, I mean, I'm talking about the tooth sensitivity.
Yes, so at that point, if you're having the tooth sensitivity, we can then begin to prescribe certain things that would minimize it. You know, the enamel is lost, but at that point, we could do a desensitization, for example, where you can have something to coat the surface. So it's more like trying to mimic what has been lost, because tooth substance, when it's lost, cannot be recovered. But we can do certain treatments to stop the sensitivity. So you can recommend sensitivity toothpastes. We can do what we call desensitization, some form of treatment to at least curtail, you understand, what is going on, the sensitivity process. But the most important thing, like I said, is lifestyle modification to stop whatever is causing the insult to the tooth.
Give us top 5 modifications.
Okay, so the first thing that I would say is brushing. A lot of people use hard toothbrush. Please don't use hard toothbrush. It's not cleaning your teeth, it's damaging your teeth. Secondly...
Why is it in the market? Anyway, you answered that one another time.
People ask me that, I really don't know.
What did she call it?
Hard toothbrush. Hard,
right.
Some people smokers toothbrush, you know, really hard toothbrush. That thing it's a dangerous tool.
Okay.
You know, it's harming the teeth.
We'll find out from the SON why is it in the market.
Yes. The second thing is the bones. A lot of people love to crack bones. Please don't crack your bones. Cut the meat off the bones. Give it to your dogs if you have dogs. Leave the bones out of your diet.
So why do we call them grinders?
No, please, go on. Number 3.
Bones. Secondly, if you're taking a lot of lemon water, acidic drinks, carbonated drinks, fizzy drinks, you really need to cut down on those things because they are causing chemical erosion to the teeth, and those things can cause sensitivity. That's another thing we need to do away with. Then some people use a lot of abrasive toothpaste. We're in the era of, I want white teeth. White teeth, clean teeth is one of the major reasons why people come to the dental clinic. Okay, so some people are doing a lot of do-it-yourself, teeth whitening, toothpaste. Those things are very abrasive. You know, I would say do away with those things.
Okay.
The way you're looking at do away with those things. Number 5, I'm trying to think of what number 5 would be. I think pretty much.
How about
these
are we permitted to drink cold water and all those things? Does it injure the teeth?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't actually. As if your teeth is healthy, then you wouldn't have any issues.
How about nutrition? What nutrition helps, dental health?
Oh wow, nutrition plays, a role, major role.
Maybe that's one of the things we'll talk about the next time we see you. Dr. Joan Aponikena, orthodontist. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Yeah, don't forget that one of the ways in which you use that mouth that you have now recycled is that you use it to sing. Maybe our next guest, the artist of the week, is not just a singer, but someone who maybe will be able to, whose songs you may have been singing. I don't know. You'll find out when we return.
Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody.
At the beginning of that video, I saw 2 artists. Just say.
At the beginning of the video, you saw 2 artists. Who and who?
1 male and 1 female.
So what happened? So where's the male now?
We don't know the artist yet until you introduce the person.
Right, our artist of the week, ever colorful. Is a she.
Oh God.
Oh why?
Set it up.
Why did you let our cat out of the bag?
You did.
Looking nice and bright. Nigerian gospel sensation. Temitope Monique, you saw her singing just before we came back. I was rocking to that, so I was quite enjoying it. Popularly known as Monique, simply, is one of Nigeria's gifted female artists. She's a singer and songwriter. She started her music career, or started singing at the age of 6 at Christ's Miracle Church. And then she left for Abundant Life Church to continue her music ministry between 1997 and 2000. Monique is from Ishaga, Lagos. She was born to Mr. and Mrs. Simeon Adebisi Fabi, but we just know her as
and all of that information you can get online. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Where have you been hiding?
I've been working. I'm not hiding. Jesus Christ. I've been working, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Not playing?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. There's a revelation of sorts that people need to know. Many people don't know it, but it was Mike Abdul that told me himself.
Okay.
The backstory of his hit track, Morire.
Oh.
Give us your own side of it.
Oh, my God.
Let's start from there.
Okay. First of all, I'm glad to be here. Like, after a very long time, I'm on the screen again. Thank you for having me.
You've been hiding.
Yes. So, I remember I'm signed to Spaghetti Records, owned by Michael Abdul himself. So it was not in the country. I think it was in the United States, to be precise, at the time. And then it was like, Mo, I want a song, because he knows I love to do praise a lot. So he said, I want African praise, give me. So I just said, okay, how about Morire, Morire, Motirire. You know that woro, CSC kind of. I was like, no, not this. I mean, I want. I'm like, well, this is what I have. I felt bad. Like, wow, I gave you something, you just trashed it like that. So he called me and said, I liked it. It's very nice. And then he came back. So I think he didn't want me to be discouraged, so he accepted it. So when he came back to Nigeria, we went to produce it with Sammy Young, and we have Morire. Well, he added his own input, so that's how Morire came to life.
The fact that, okay, you said you wanted the slow version, but he just sped it up.
Yes.
Why does that guy like high energy songs?
Yeah.
Anyway, from what you have said and from what I've known a bit, he's been a bit of an influence, right?
Yes, sure. Sure.
What kind?
I'm the calm type of person. I'm very reserved. Like, I just like to be in my space. But Mr. Mike will bring you out of your shell. It will bring the best out of you. It will bring out those things you are hiding inside that you don't even know you have. And you bring it out of you. Like, there's a song we also did together, myself, him, and Adam. Jesus something. And he said, you are doing a rap. I said, rap me. He said, you are doing a rap version. So, and we are meeting at the studio tomorrow. Lo and behold, I did it. And I started doing rap, and everyone was like, wow, 2,000 years, Lati Bere, wow. So I watched it, and I'm like, wow. So I can do this. So he influenced all of that. And then on stage, we were like, no, don't be calm. Release yourself. Do this. And then now, me, I'm crazy on stage. I'm like, who did this? This has to be Mr. Mike.
Okay. But the good thing about all of that is the influence that you have also had on the music industry. Your journey started from what Joke said earlier, at the age of 6. Yes. How's that story been between then and now? I'm from a music lover family. My dad loves music a lot, even though secular music, the Obeys and the Baba Obeys and the Sonia Day, King Sonia Day. So I've always loved music since I was a child, and I love to sing. And then my mom is an evangelist, so I'll follow her to church. And then I joined the children choir from there, teenagers choir. And then when we changed location and we found another church, that's the Abundant Life Chapel, where I spent my teenage life. I joined the choir. From there, I became friends with Infinity, the Olorioko, Pat Uwaje King, Benga Ibola of Midnight Crew, and a few other gospel artists, Samos, and I've known them over the years. So I heard about a program, Circle of Stars, by Captain Jide George, the owners of Little Saint Orphanage. So, everybody now, I was young and then looking for survival, like, let me go and join, I can sing. And then I joined, I became the winner of my season, and then I became popular. So I got to know the likes of Mike Karemu, many other artists like that, and that's how the journey started until God said, no, it's gospel I want to use you for. And then I'm back to church and doing gospel
as it pleases the Lord.
And you mentioned quite a number of names.
Yeah.
And one of the things that a good number of people don't really do well or do much of is to acknowledge the influences of people on their lives. And that's the role of mentorship, isn't it? And
yes, sir.
One that helps you to stay on the track.
True. One of them is Kenny St. Brown. I remember working as a backup for Kenny St. Brown. Yes, those days when she tells you come at 7 p.m. if you are not there at 7 p.m. So that also taught me to be on time. And then like Mr. Mike Abdul is someone that really, impacted us much more in that area, that you respect people when you come on time. Pastors are leaders, they are our fathers, and they are our parents. So when they say church is 7, even if you are going to be ministering at 2 p.m., be there at 7, worship with them, be in the atmosphere, understand. So, and if I have an event or a ministration and they say 7, 6:30, I'm there. I'm with. Why are you? I said, this has to be Mr. Mike. I'm not known for. I have children to take care of, but my husband understands. So I'll leave home on time, to beat traffic and all of that. So a lot of people have been of influence. At least that has been said about Mr. Mike. And then Mike Karemu, I did a few backup for Mike Karemu as well, and that also pushed me to learn some things about instruments. So. And so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, I'm going back to school. It's music I know the practical part of music, but I want to know the theoretical aspect of music. These things are gifts, they are talent, they are inbuilt. You can sing now and I will harmonize you. And even me, I don't know where it's coming from. I just know that I can. But I want to now know how to now put those things together in words when I want to teach people. Because people know you can sing, they'll now tell you, come and train my voice. I'm like, no, I'm not a professional at it. So let me now go and know more about the theoretical aspect. So I'll be able to tell you that this is do, re, this is for alto, this is for tenor, this is for this. And that's why I went to the University of Lagos to study music.
And how was that? How did that experience open your eyes to, the more opportunities, that could have come your way? Rather than just saying, you know what, I've been singing since I was 6. I know everything about that's there to know about it. But and then going through, the music program at the University of Lagos, how did that open you up to opportunities? And how have you used that up, really?
Okay, I would say that I thank God for the opportunity. At least I got to meet a lot of people, and I like academics. But does he have influence on me? It's more like the things I've known before. It's just that now I know about operas, notes. I know them before, but I don't know their name. So now I can put a name to what do is. I know the sign of do. I know the quaver. I know all of that sign, and be able to sight read. So that's one thing I would say. I'm glad I went for the experience, and I'm able to hold on to that. So anytime I find myself on an international stage, there are some songs you don't know the lyrics because you don't understand their language. If they give you a Brazilian language, a Brazilian song to sing, you don't know the song, but you can hum it or play it if they give you the script. Yeah. Because most songs are written in script, and then you can sight read and say, okay, this is da, 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 da. So even if you are biting your mouth, you can flow with the rhythm. You may not know the lyrics, but you can flow with the rhythm. So I like that experience. I like that I went to school to know that, and I would say thanks to my lecturers.
I think I thought I was the only one that knew things and didn't have a name for them until I went to presentation school myself. Yeah, but so when I said you've been hiding, you said you've not been hiding, you've been working. So what have you been doing, and what should we be expecting from you now? Okay,
the hiding part, I would say maybe I stopped going for interviews, because there are times you go for interviews and then, I'm sorry to say, some journalists or presenters can be insensitive to some questions that has to do with your private life. And I'm like, no, I can't have my son or my daughter watch me, and these are the kind of questions you're asking me. So I said, no, I'm not going for interviews again. But I've been working, I've been going for ministrations, I've been doing concerts, over the years. Like, that's one of my concerts in 2022. I did one last year. This year I'm not doing because I also went for Bible school, like theology school, not Bible school this time. So I was ordained a reverend and a pastor. Yeah, I have my own community where I reach out to people, teach them about Christ. I have that ministry. I also have an NGO I run, so that also takes my time. I have other business I do, but I still do music and I do it full time. Yes, I released an album recently, Arise. The title is Arise, the 10-track album, and it has been blessing lives.
Does he have rap?
Oh, no. This time I didn't put rap. I didn't put rap
I'm
this
curious,
time.
what's your range? Because, you know, there's a tendency, there's this thing that I see with artists, and I've noticed with a couple of female Nigerian artists, that, you know, they sing this particular genre of music, but their range, when they sing another genre, you say, oh, so this person can actually do this. So what's your real range? I know you sing worship and it's all nice.
In other words, what's your signature? Someone says, okay, Monique, without even saying your name, they know that this is the kind of thing she does. Okay.
Contemporary, 100%. I'm very versatile. I can do anything, but I'm very contemporary and African-based. Yeah, most times my accent is in my song, and I've gone outside the country, and that's what they want to hear. I don't try to form accents, even when I'm talking to the audience. I was in Zambia sometimes last year. I spoke to them in my Nigerian English, because they are speaking to me in their country's English, and we both understand ourselves. And when I was singing, I even sang in Yoruba, and they sang with me as well. So everywhere I go, it's contemporary, and I'm very African, I'm very Nigerian about it.
Yes, but usually our training is that speak like an educated Nigerian. Don't try and put
be somebody else.
Yeah. when you speak properly, people will understand what you're saying, regardless of whether you're using. It's when you use those dictionaries, they don't even know what you're saying, because you're probably saying the wrong thing anyway.
So going forward, what are we to expect from Monique? Not Reverend Dr. Monique. What are we to expect from Monique within the 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now?
Okay, next year, April, Easter to be precise, I'm dropping another album. I've started working in the studio, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
Let's not have cramps, yeah. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much,
but are there things that you think, given you said you don't want to be in public light and all of those things, but you do know that you are a mentor, one way or the other. And just as, Joke said when we began, you're a foremost female music artist, gospel music artist at that. So definitely, do you have a kind of mentorship program or something?
Yes, I do. That's why I said my ministry is one of that program, where I have social media handles and pages where people come to hear from me. It is what I want to put out there that I will put out there, not somebody's perception of, oh, I heard this, I heard that you are married, I heard that you are a doctor, I heard that you are now a pastor, I heard that you now run a church. No, I will give you the full information about me and only the truth. So that's why I have social media pages, people that follow me. If you want to know about me, you can ask me questions, I will tell you.
Is there anything you want to tell any aspiring music artist now to be careful of? Maybe from experience of some things that you have learned, maybe mistakes that you made, and you think they shouldn't repeat? First
of all, I want to say that I'm grateful to God for having Mike Abdul as a friend, a brother, and a mentor, because I learned a lot from him, and that I'm going to say to people: avoid fake life. Some people are not true to many things. Somebody will tell you, oh, I don't charge, and they charge. It's just that the style they use in charging the church is different. So you look at them and be like, oh, I don't charge too. And then you go around begging for money to do production, to shoot videos and all of that. And when you don't have that money and you're not putting out songs, people say, oh, the glory has departed. He's no longer anointed. And it's not the anointing. It's just that you don't have money for proper production and put out there for people to see. So avoid fake life. Be real. Be true to yourself.
So it's not the anointing that is the problem. It's the anointing. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you,
Tebitokwe Monique, a.k.a. rather better known
as Monique.
No, I didn't say that. Reverend Dr.
Oh my God.
Tebitokwe Monique, a.k.a. Monique.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you for coming.
And all the
Thank you,
best
ma.
all the time.
Thank you, ma. Thank you,
And we
sir.
expect April.
Like those.
No, before April, she's coming. December 27, we want you here. We'll talk about that one later.
Okay.
Off camera.
Okay, thank you so much for the privilege of being a part of your Saturday morning. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Maya Makinde.
And I'm Joke Rogers.